For the emphasis of those who may be here for the first time or viewing or listening to us for the first time, May the Purse is an initiative by the Ministry of Information where we bring the state actors together with the media to have a good dialogue in discussing their key achievements and the story so far since they were assigned their various portfolios. Today we are fortunate to have with us the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, together with her Deputy Chief Director and representatives from the ministry, departments and agencies.
The Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection wishes to express its gratitude to the Honorable Minister for Information and his deputies for providing this interactive platform with the media to share our achievements and challenges from 2018 to date. We are indeed very honored. The ministry has a vision to create a harmonious society in which the survival and development of gender, children, the vulnerable, and persons with disability are guaranteed. Ensure gender equality through the mainstreaming of gender considerations, promote the welfare and protection of children, and empower the vulnerable, excluded, the aged, and persons with disability through social protection interventions to contribute to national development. Madam Chair, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the ministry continues to pursue the government's vision of Ghana Beyond Aid and building a fair and inclusive society to create equal opportunities for all. In this regard, the ministry's programs and interventions have been aligned with the President's coordinated programs of economic and social development policies and the National Medium-Term Development Policy Framework, an agenda for jobs, creating prosperity and equal opportunities for all, 2018 to 2021. Achievements based on programs and activities, institutional and legal strengthening, name, affirmative action, gender equality bill. Significant progress made to review and finalize the affirmative action bill with inputs received from institutions mentioned in the bill and ready for submission to Cabinet for consideration and approval. I must say here that we are a bit delayed because we had to incorporate our ladies with disability. So the affirmative action is not only going to be for, we have to add up to 8 persons with ladies with disability. Foster care and adoption regulations. It was passed by Parliament. Sensitization of key stakeholders on alternative care, adoption, and foster care regulations are ongoing. Aged Persons Bill and Social Protection Bill. Relevant stakeholders engaged on the bills and currently working with the Attorney General's Department for the finalization and submission to Cabinet for consideration and approval. Social Work Council. A draft Social Work Council bill has been prepared by the Ministry for validation to regulate the practice of training of social workers in Ghana. Gender equality and women empowerment. A television talk show dubbed Girls Power Talk Show has been initiated by the ministry and aired on GTV. It is an innovative approach to reach adolescent girls and young people with information to assist them in their developmental process. Gender equality and women empowerment. The ministry, through national stakeholders consultations, has developed and is implementing the Ghana National Action Plan 2 on the UN Resolution 1325 on women, peace and security to ensure the full representation and active participation of women in conflict and security management at all levels. The ministry, in its quest to mainstream gender into MDA's and MMDA's plans and fulfillment of sustainable development goals. 5. Achieve gender equality, empower all women and girls. Has built the capacity of 28 desk officers and 40 officers in various MMDAs on the national gender policy. Gender equality and women empowerment. To ensure sustainable progress on combating discrimination against women, the ministry organized a youth summit to empower boys and girls as partners in achieving gender equality. The ministry collaborated with the Gender Center for Empowerment Development to train 50 artisans on workplace violence and its consequences in Accra. A mentorship program was held for 100 girls working as advocates for adolescent sexual reproductive health rights, sexual and gender-based violence, teenage pregnancy, and child marriage in selected schools. Also, 180 men and boys were sensitized on their role in achieving gender equality and sexual reproductive health issues. The ministry organized community derbys in 6 selected communities in 4 districts in the northern region to sensitize 1,242 men and boys for behavioral change on emerging issues such as ending of child marriage and gender equality. The ministry joined the world to commemorate the 2019 International Women's Day with a series of activities under the theme Balance for Better. The ministry provided medical equipment and supplies to, that is gender equality and women empowerment still. The ministry provided medical equipment and supplies to Manfred Dove Health Center in the Central Tone District of the Volta region. The health center was constructed through the initiative of the community to address an age-old traditional belief which did not allow pregnant women to give birth in the community. Child rights promotion, protection, and development. 5 calendar day events, namely Safer Internet Day, National Children's Day, African Union Day of the African Child, International Day of the Girl Child, the World Children's Day were duly observed, and emphasis on sensitizing the general public on issues of child right protection and promotion. The ministry has initiated the process to amend child-related legislations, the Child and Family Welfare and Justice for Children policies, in line with the international protocol and convention. A year-long event to mark the 30th anniversary of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child was launched. Various calendar events will project the achievement of government machinery for child protection. The ministry organized 20 radio and 40 community sensitization programs on child rights, violence against children, responsible parenting, and child and family welfare, and justice for children policy to empower children, parents, and families on child rights issues. To guide the stimulation and care of children below 3 years, the ministry has finalized and launched an early childhood care and development standards for children 0 to 3 years. Also, 53 community health nurses, social workers, teachers, and community leaders were trained on ECCD and visual impairment. The following documents were developed and launched to facilitate child protection in Ghana: National Standards for Residential Home Centers with Standard Operating Procedures, Foster Parent Training Manual, Mapping of Residential Home Centers, Case Management and Standard Operating Procedures. The ministry's program dubbed Operation Get Off the Street Now for a Better Life. The following have been achieved: data for 2,374 street children collected from 45 hotspot areas in Accra. 180 street children were identified and profiled. 167 street children received support in diverse ways. A national disaggregated data on 2,972 persons with disability has been developed to facilitate the mainstreaming of disability into metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies, as well as national development planning and budgeting. The ministry undertook outreach programs to sensitize parents on responsible parenting, on child protection issues such as family strengthening, good parenting, and family-based care at Agbogloshi, Malamata, Medina, and Makwala Market in the Greater Accra region. The ministry provided 139 persons with disability with skills training to provide them with decent economic activity and improve their livelihood. 654 new daycare centers were registered, and 942 existing ones had their certificates renewed and are providing effective care and support service for children. 3,857 children in government and private residential homes provided with care, education, and counseling across the country to make their life meaningful. Also, 38 residential homes for children have been licensed. 557 new non-governmental organizations have been registered, and existing 736 have their certificates renewed and are adhering to standards. 64 prospective adoptive parents have been assessed, declared eligible, and suitable to adopt children. 63 adoption applications were processed, out of which 47 were granted approval. The ministry, in its efforts to sensitize the general public on social protection issues, organized 23 community dialogues at Aguna West and Tano North municipalities and communities. Over 10,000 people were engaged. In addition, engagement sessions were held with religious and traditional leaders in 13 regions. Social protection. The ministry, in collaboration with the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, has developed and commenced the implementation of the Ghana Productive Safety Net Project, a successor project to Ghana Social Opportunity Project, as a key social protection program to provide support to the extremely poor. A communication strategic plan has been developed and being implemented to ensure the support and buy-in from all stakeholders, including ministries, departments and agencies, as well as metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies. a productive and financial inclusion component of the Ghana Productive Safety Net project, known as the Complementary Livelihood Asset Support Scheme, was developed to provide sustainable income earning opportunities for the beneficiaries of social protection interventions. In the implementation of the single window case management system, in this period under review, 635 cases were recorded, out of which 532 cases were resolved. More than 600 social welfare officers have been trained in the management of the single window case management system. The ministry has introduced a joint spot check monitoring strategy to track the achievements and challenges in the implementation of our social intervention programs mainstreaming in selected MMDAs across the country. Under the Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty, Program 3 cycle of cash grant payment to LEAP beneficiaries, 58th and 59th and 60th, have been made. A total of 1,428,460 extremely poor beneficiaries. The 61st and 2nd cycle is due on Wednesday. To ensure effective and efficient implementation of the program, guidelines for LEAP operation funds computation has been reviewed and is operational. An electronic reporting model developed and being piloted in 30 districts. In addition, electronic protocols for the reconciliation of LEAP payment data and the management of funds by Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlement System, GIPS, which is the service provider, has been developed to enhance the generation of LEAP beneficiaries' payroll. To enhance program monitoring, a digitized economic monitoring and reporting system for LEAP was developed. The system is being deployed in all 260 MMDAs to ensure timely submission of LEAP reports by district social workers, by district social welfare officers. The system will also enable the LEAP Management Secretariat to conduct real-time monitoring to track monitoring implementation at the community level. And for this, we've submitted laptops to all the MMDCs, with the exception of a few that we are going to do very soon. The program currently provides school feeding program, The program currently provides one hot and nutritious meal for 2,663,134 pupils in 8,683 public basic schools. The Ghana School Feeding Program organized series of training for 5,711 caterers in the northern, northeast, Savannah, Upper East, and Upper West regions on standard management and nutritional requirements for preparation of meals for school children. As part of the training, the ministry donated eating bowls and spoons to all selected schools, and we are here to do the same in all schools. Madam Chair, all outstanding caterers arrears for first and second term of 2018 and 2019 academic year have been paid. 3,023 schools across the country were monitored to check enrollment, quality, and quantity of food and kitchens. In line with the government's vision of an agenda for jobs, 25,053 have been employed under the Ghana School Feeding Program. The ministry collaborated the International School Meals Day, celebrated the International School Meals Day in Ghana at Nyakrom, the Aguna West District. The African Day of School Feeding was also marked at Alavanyo DA in the Ga Adangbe District. securing inclusion for persons with disability. To ensure that the Persons with Disability Act 2006, Act 715, conforms with the provisions of the United Nations Convention on the Right with Persons with Disability, the Ministry has initiated the process of collaboration with Ghana Federation of the Disabled and other stakeholders to review the Act 715. 3 consultations held with the NCPD Board Ministry and NCPD Board, Ministry of Transport and Ministry of Works and Housing on mainstreaming provisions in the Ghana Accessibility Standard on the built environment into Ghana's building code to ensure that public facilities are disability friendly. To promote public understanding and support in mainstreaming disability in all spheres of human endeavors, including development, planning and implementation, a communication strategic plan on PWDs has been developed and being implemented. As part of the sensitization on mainstreaming disability, a program was organized by the ministry on the importance of the use of sign language during public functions, with an objective to promote and achieve participation of PWDs in the national development. Securing inclusion for persons with disability. We celebrated the 2018 International Day of Persons with Disability in December with a Durbar at the forecourt of the State House. To promote the mainstreaming of disability into MMDA's plan and budget planning planning the budget officers from 17 MMDAs in Greater Accra region were sensitized on framework and strategies for mainstreaming disability into their work plan. Ghana Accessibility Standards on the built environment. Reporting format on the management and disbursement of the 3% of the District Assembly's Common Fund for persons with disability. The ministry undertook series of community dialogues and sensitization in efforts to increase awareness and education on human trafficking and irregular migration issues. Ghana joined the world to commemorate the World's Day Against Trafficking in Persons, Blue Day, with a grand durbar of chiefs, queen mothers, and the general public under the theme, Building a Network of Hope to End Human Trafficking. The ministry sensitized 2 appeal court judges and 75 high court judges in Accra and Kumasi on human trafficking and its modern trends and adoption. Her ladyship, the Chief Justice, was in attendance. 82 cases of human trafficking were investigated, out of which 23 were convicted, 13 were child labor related offenses, and 10 for human trafficking offenses. The ministry in 2018 rescued, supported, and gave care to 332 victims of human trafficking. Out of this number, 252 were children and 80 were adults. The adult shelter, renovated in 2017, has in that period under review received 62 survivors of human trafficking. 43 survivors have so far been rehabilitated and reintegrated into their families, and currently 19 trafficking survivors are being cared for at our shelter. Data collected and collated for 3 annual reports produced on human trafficking for the U.S. Department of Labor Trafficking in Persons Office, Child Protection Compact, Project Office, and ECOWAS As a result of these, Ghana has been upgraded from Tier 2 watch list to Tier 2 ranking in the 2018 TIP report. 2018. The ministry has opened a domestic sexual and gender-based violence rapid response center at Agbogloshi and Medina Market. The center also serves as a rescue center where the market women are sensitized on issues of domestic sexual and gender-based violence. 65 persons made up of selected market executives and other stakeholders were trained as paralegal to support operations at the center and the community. Domestic violence. A sensitization workshop was held for MCEs and DCEs on domestic violence issues in the Greater Accra, Ashanti, Brong-Ahafo, Upper East, Upper West, and Northern region to curb the menace. The ministry and the African Union hosted the second African Union Girls Summit on the theme, Enough with the Silence. The summit provided a platform for stakeholders to assess their roles and reaffirm their commitment in the campaign to end early child marriage and other negative socio-cultural practices. International obligations and commitment. The ministry participated in a number of conferences for 2018 to date as part of our commitment to the international community. The ministry participated in the 11th session of the Conference of States Parties on the Convention of the Rights of Persons with Disability in New York in June 2018 on the theme, Leaving No One Behind through the full implementation of the CRPD. The 20th Anniversary Global Child Nutrition Forum in Tunis in October 2018 on the theme, National School Meal Programs for Food and Nutrition Security and Multiple Social Benefits. International obligations and commitments. The 57th session of the United Nations Commission for Social Development in New York in February 2019 on the theme, Addressing Inequalities and Challenges to Social Inclusion through Fiscal, Wage, and Social Protection. The 63rd session of the Commission on the Status of Women in New York in March 2018 on the theme, Social Protection Systems, Access to Public Service and Sustainable Infrastructure for Gender Equality and Empowerment of Women and Girls. Madam Chair, we are elated to announce that the ministry held its maiden summit under the theme, Promoting Social Inclusion, Leave No One Behind, which brought together all stakeholders, including our development partners, to deliberate on issues related to our sector. The summit took stock of policies, interventions, activities, and programs implemented over the years to highlight our successes, identify challenges and gaps, and also formulate strategies to improve future performance. Madam Chair, the ministry will continue to implement planned programs and activities in line with its sector policies and objectives in the areas of gender, children, and social protection. This includes provide one hot nutritional meal for existing beneficiary people under the Ghana School Feeding Program, pay bi-monthly cash grants to LEAP beneficiaries to help smoothen their daily consumption, coordinate the implementation of children, gender, and social protection policies, provide care, education, and counseling to orphans and all vulnerable groups, monitor the disbursement and use of the 3% disability fund for persons with disability, continue the implementation with the operation Get Off the Street Now for a Better Life to give children on the street a dignified life. In conclusion, Our remarkable achievements for the period under review are attributed to the enhanced collaboration and partnership with our stakeholders and development partners, including the media. We therefore wish to acknowledge the numerous financial and technical assistance received from our stakeholders, including the World Bank, DFID, UNDP, UNICEF, UNFPA, WFP, FAO, IOM, Canada, FAO, WFP, USAID, European Union, African Union, ECOWAS, MDAs, MMDAs, civil society organizations, including the Ministry of Information. We wish to strengthen this collaboration in the implementation of our mandate. Thank you very much.